This girl falls asleep in movies more than any person I've ever encountered. How many times did you fall asleep in Ant-Man and the Wasp? Like 3 or 4?
Oh yeah, but it was towards the end. It was towards the end.
I think she saw probably 90% of this movie.
That's
I think there was
pretty good.
I mean, it would get an A, but I'm pretty sure you missed like a whole tenth of this movie. It's a 2-hour movie. That'd be like a whole 12 minutes, right? This is a pretty sizable chunk.
Yeah, but we also watch movies at nighttime. And, like, I am not a night owl, I'm more of a morning person. So, I'd like to say that the cards are against me.
She literally will fall asleep at any point in any... Like, we will watch shows in the day. We've watched Smallville, and there have been times where you're falling asleep in the middle of the day. So, there's something about this girl, like, I understand now why she never watched movies growing up. It's because her parents would probably turn them on, and she would be out. But we did finally watch Ant-Man and the Wasp, which means that the long road to Avengers Endgame has finally come to an end.
Yeah.
This all started with Brienne having never seen any of the Marvel movies, and I showed her Avengers Endgame first.
Yeah.
People were mad at me, but I didn't care. Because you know what? I thought this was a prime opportunity to just get somebody's, raw reaction, having never seen any of the movies. And I gotta say, it was awesome. But then, I did want to go back, and we've slowly but surely been inching our way back to Endgame. Yeah. And finally, with Ant-Man and the Wasp, we have reached it to where we are at the pinnacle. We are almost there. The next movie we're watching is Endgame, and we're going to get to see how you like Endgame now that you know all the context. But we're at Ant-Man and the Wasp. So tell us, what did you think about Ant-Man and the Wasp?
Yeah. I think compared to the first Ant-Man, I think I liked the original better. Like, I thought the Wasp was cool, but I kind of liked it whenever it was just Ant-Man by himself. There was something about the first movie I think that I just liked more.
Yeah.
But it was still a good movie.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely enjoyed the first one more as well. I enjoy both. I think when it comes to the Marvel movies, the Ant-Man ones are the more rewatchable ones.
Yeah, because they're more like comedy based.
Yeah, all of them are comedy, but I think the Ant-Man ones pull off the comedy better.
Yeah.
Like, they're more overtly comedic. Whereas I think some of the things I have against a lot of the Marvel movies is that they're supposed to be serious, but they always take away from, like, the most serious moments by, like, putting in a joke. And I'm like, It's
comedic relief or something, yeah.
Whereas whenever you're watching Ant-Man, you go in there expecting that. And Paul Rudd is just hilarious, like, in all of his stuff. Like, and him and his daughter's chemistry is amazing.
I love it.
I know that you like that, so just tell us, what did you think about him and his daughter throughout the movie and stuff like that?
Yeah, I know towards the beginning, not the opening scene, but towards the beginning, whenever they were inside all the little boxes, and he was, stuck at his house and so he had to stay there with the little ankle bracelet thing around his ankle, and he made this, like, entire little, like, slide down the stairs, all with cardboard boxes, and, like,
super cool.
Had, like, this, like, huge ant thing inside there, and, like, it was so cool, and he would just, like, go through there with his daughter, and I was like, oh, so sweet.
I just want to know where he got all those cardboard boxes.
I know. I guess
Because
maybe his friend...
Luis.
Yes, maybe he, went out and scouted out for some cardboard boxes from him. Or he just went crazy on online shopping.
Yeah, so I was thinking.
It was like Amazon.
It was like Prime all the time. Yeah, but so he's had 2 years of being, stuck in his house because of the events of Civil War, which... Man, for us, that feels like a really long time ago.
It does.
Just as we were getting to this, I was trying to remember, like, why is he under house arrest? I was like, oh, yeah, that was Civil War. And we watched that. If you've been watching these movies with us, we actually started this whole thing on our other channel, Now Let's Be Honest.
Yeah.
And then we decided to kind of just split up the 2 channels so that this one could be more directed towards movies and TV shows and books and stuff like that. But we actually started this off on the other channel, and we went through the first few phases really quickly. We went through phase 1 and phase 2 of the Marvel movies like that. Like, it was just, boom, we knocked them all out.
We did.
But, yeah, then I think we got some Marvel fatigue, and we, like, slowed down a whole lot.
Yeah.
And so we've just been going through phase 3 slowly but surely. And then we took, like, this huge long break, I think, because it was leading up to Black Panther, I think. We had, like, this really long break. For some reason, we just, like, didn't feel like watching it. And then finally, we're like, we gotta push through.
Yeah.
But yeah, so Civil War felt like so long ago.
Yeah, it did.
But I like that there's the continuity there. But tell us also, what did you think about Luis, his best friend?
Oh, yeah. Even from the first Ant-Man movie, I loved him from the very beginning. Because I think another one of, like, the opening scenes, he was, like, driving the van or something. He's like, my mom died, this and this and this, but I got the man. That was like my favorite scene of the entire first Ant-Man movie.
Yeah.
But he's really funny. He is the source, I feel like, a lot of the comedic relief. It's just like random little like soliloquies over here from Luis.
Yeah, I think he's probably my favorite character from both of the Ant-Man movies for sure. Yeah. Because he's just... I love the running gimmick they have where he always like tells a story and then they reenact the scenes, but the people are actually like, I don't know how they filmed that. Like, it's like, I guess that the people are probably just like, they have him tell the story and then when they're acting out the scene, they're playing the audio and the people are having to mouth it to the same speed, but it's like, dramatic. It's perfectly synced and super dramatic and it's so good. Like there's, in this one, he's making out with, the Wasp, right? Oh my gosh, I'm like totally blanking on all the character names. Maybe I was sleeping in the movie too. But he's like making out with the Wasp. And like in the reenactment, he's like, oh, by the way, I gotta run to Germany and beat up like Iron Man. Yeah. It's just, it was really good. I really enjoy Luis and all his antics. I feel like going forward, if they make more Ant-Man movies, I don't know what their plans are. Actually, they do have another Ant-Man movie planned. They have announced that. It's called like Quantumania, I think, or something like that. I believe that's the next one. But with Luis, they need to be careful because I don't want them to like make him so comedic that you know, like this one they were heading in that direction, but I still think it was a good balance. You know, like a lot of his jokes were they were just enough to where it wasn't too overbearing to where he became one of those like just characters who is only funny and just you're like, oh, okay, that's just who he is. But no, I like it. Like Luis talking about you know, I'd like a suit. You know, like it wouldn't have to have that many powers, just a suit or just a suit. You know, might not even have any powers at all. Just a suit would be cool. Yeah. And I was like, that's funny. And then you were like, relatable. But so Ant-Man and the Wasp. There's really not a whole lot to talk about this movie. I don't think. What did you think about the villains? I guess there were kind of a bunch of ones. There was the person who could phase through walls and stuff. What did you think about them? Yeah, her.
She was weird. I was really confused whenever she first came into the movie as to like what she was. It's kind of an interesting character. I thought that once she kind of like revealed who she was and they had like a conversation, I thought she was a good person, and then I realized that she actually was evil. She just knows kind of how to play her cards and stuff like that. But I don't think it wasn't a very strong villain. It felt almost kind of disconnected in a way. I don't really know how, but it just kind of did. It's kind of weird, but
the main driving plot of the whole movie was really trying to get the mom back. And it seems like they just needed something to throw conflict in there. And, you know, basically, if they didn't have some sort of villain, they would have been able to get the mom back within the first 30 minutes of the movie. Right. But instead, they have to have the villain fighting for, like, the lab and, like, wanting it for different purposes and stuff. Yeah. So, I see why they did it, but I do agree. It was a bit of a weaker villain. Really cool suit she had. I mean, I thought it was pretty nifty. Intimidating. Yeah.
Like, the way that she would walk and just, like, the suit gave her, like, a very, like, blank stare because she couldn't see actual eyes. It was just, like, these, like, red little dots. It was very intimidating.
Yeah, and that'd be terrifying to fight.
Oh, yeah.
Like, just the person, like, just can phase through stuff. Like, what do you do? You're like, I don't know how to beat this. Well, so
that's the time whenever it's beneficial to be Ant-Man, because you can just shrink down.
Shrink down and hide. Yeah, but, it's a weaker villain. Cool suit, though. Cool design. That's usually the consistent thing in all these Marvel movies. They have cool designs, even if the villains are a bit weaker.
They do.
But, really, do you have anything else that that really stood out to you in this movie at all that you just wanted to mention?
I know I said earlier, whenever we had first started watching it, that Ant-Man is one of my favorite movies of the Marvel series. I think he's, like, really underrated, which I think I said this in our last Ant-Man video, but just think about how many bugs are in the world. Let's just take a second to think about how many ants are out, probably just in your front yard. And if you had the ability to shrink and also make things bigger, like, that is so much power within one character.
Could you see what all the big ants did whenever they like made the ants bigger?
Yeah, you could literally take over the entire world. Like, we are so outnumbered by bugs. You know? Like
the Planet of the Apes spinoff, we planted the ants.
Yeah, there you go.
There you go. Listen up. If you want to hire us to write that story, we will.
Gotcha.
And it'll be great. Yeah. But, no, that is true. I really never spend much time thinking about that. But you're right. Ant-Man definitely is very underrated in his abilities.
Yeah. But he's also so chill. Like, he's, like... If I was that character, I mean, I don't think I'd be prideful, but I'd be like, man, I have a lot of power, and he's just so chill.
Yeah,
he's just like, man.
Yeah.
But it's like, wow.
That's probably the good thing, because that means he deserves to be the hero.
Absolutely.
Right? And,
absolutely.
And then I guess really the only other thing worth mentioning is the mid-credit scene, right? The after-credit scene's just You know, it's just the ant playing the drums. I
Yeah.
guess it's like Rock Band or whatever.
Yeah.
So that was kind of lame. But the mid-credit scene, this is one of the mid-credit scenes that really has stuck out to me amongst, you know, all the different Marvel movies. Like, this is the one that always, like, sticks out to me because Ant-Man and the Wasp, it's one of the movies, I did not see it in theaters. I saw it at home. Most of the Marvel movies, I saw them in theaters, and the only two I hadn't seen up until us watching them was Black Panther and Captain Marvel. But Ant-Man and the Wasp, I think, is one of the only ones that I saw at home rather than in theaters. And getting to the mid-credit scene, I was like, whoa. Like, I wasn't expecting that. Like, I was wondering how they would tie in Infinity War, because obviously in the mid-credit scene, Ant-Man goes into the quantum realm, and then they're supposed to bring him back, and they say 5, 4, 3, and then it just cuts off. And he's like, guys, what's going on? And then it just pans out.
Yeah.
And they just turn to dust.
The dust. I'm like,
oh,
you snapped.
Yeah. And I was always, throughout the whole movie, I was wondering, like, where does this take place in regards to Infinity War?
Right.
Because obviously this came out after Infinity War. And I was like, okay, so, like, that was the thing that confused me. And I remember going into the movie, like, whenever it was coming out, people were kind of questioning. They were like, where does this take place? They didn't know, like, you know, because literally after Infinity War, half the population is dead. Right. And they're like, okay, is this movie going to address it? What's going on? And they don't address it for the whole movie. And you're like, okay, the credits start rolling. You're like, oh, I guess this all took place before Infinity War. And then you watch the mid-credits and like, boom. Like, oh, there it was. There's the snap. Well, I literally just snapped. That was funny. So literally, Thanos snaps.
Yeah. And
Ant-Man is stuck inside the quantum realm. And I don't know if you remember much about Endgame.
The beginning of it, yeah.
But that's a very important thing going into it. But that being said, do you have anything else to say about Ant-Man and the Wasp?
No. I don't think I do.
Okay, cool. Well, it has been a long road, but we have finally made it through all of the Marvel movies leading up to Avengers Endgame, which means that we've got Avengers Endgame, and then we have Spider-Man Far From Home. And then we will be entirely caught up with the Marvel movies so far. Yeah. And we have been watching WandaVision. We're not doing any videos on it or anything. Maybe we'll do like a season recap or something after the season's over. But we have been watching WandaVision, so we're up to date with that as well. Episode 3 was released, I guess, today, I think. But yeah, and it was pretty solid. Yeah. I like where it's heading. You know, it's got a very, very slow burn, but things are beginning to unravel, and you're like, ooh, it seems like it's going to be an intriguing show.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we only have 2 more movies left, and then we'll be caught up.
That's crazy.
And then going forward, you just get to experience the Marvel movies with the rest of us.
Yeah.
But yeah, so what do you think about, I guess just overall, as we're wrapping up, what do you think has changed your perspective having seen these movies as you go into Endgame?
Yeah. I understand character development a lot more, and maybe, I guess, the powers of each of the characters, because I didn't know, like, the power of Thor's, like, hammer, or, like, Captain America's shield, or things like I didn't understand, like, only, like, Thor has the power to use his own hammer and stuff like that. So I guess kind of their powers, kind of their relationships with each other from seeing, like, the different Avengers, and just kind of their own stories. And then I guess putting together the different Infinity Stones, right? Yeah. Throughout all the movies. And then understanding the, like, disappearing of half the population.
Yes.
Because I did not understand that at all when we first went in, and we're set up now.
Literally, go back and watch our Endgame video, because it's actually really funny. Literally, after the movie, we were talking about it. Like, I was already editing our video, and we started talking about it, and she was like, so why did those people just, like, show up during the movie? And I was like, Brienne, those are the people who were gone. And she's like, oh!
And it's like all these puzzle pieces try to come together.
Yeah, so it was really funny. But yeah, so there is our kind of quick, kind of just all over the place review of Ant-Man and the Wasp.
Yeah.
There's kind of her different thoughts as we go into Endgame. And with that, we'll wrap up. If you were wanting to know why we're wearing these shirts, these are actually gifts to us from The Chosen TV show. If you haven't watched that, it's actually really good.
So good.
You know, this isn't a sponsorship or anything. We've got like 50 subscribers, so this isn't no sponsorship. But The Chosen, it's like the first multi-season show about Jesus Christ. And we've been doing like episode breakdowns of that show on this channel. And so they reached out to us. They sent us some free merch. And we just happened to be wearing that today because literally we opened it up today.
Yeah.
And so that's why we're wearing the shirt, if
Here it
you were
is.
wondering. So go watch The Chosen. It's actually really good.
Yeah.
But if you don't have anything else to say,
I don't.
I guess we'll just sign off then. Well, I am David.
And I'm Brienne.
And this has been Now Let's Be Honest About Movies. We will see you later.
Bye.